Jake Paul was visibly shocked after watching Gervonta Davis's intense, almost monster-like training footage, but he refused to let it shake him. Instead, Paul stayed positive and confident, praising Davis as a skilled fighter while insisting that his own preparation and mindset will carry him through. He explained that 5 years of hard training and relentless improvement have taught him the power of positivity and self-belief. Paul also noted that despite countless sparring sessions, he's never been knocked out, a fact that fuels his confidence ahead of the fight. For him, stepping into the ring isn't just about skill. It's about proving that discipline, belief, and mental strength can make all the difference. The biggest roadblock to a potential clash between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul is the massive gap in their weight classes. Davis has dominated the lighter divisions, using speed and explosive power to overwhelm opponents his size. Jake Paul, by contrast, is naturally much bigger, competing around cruiserweight for boxing fans and analysts. This isn't just a matter of a few pounds. It's a gulf that makes the matchup difficult to imagine. When the weight gap is too wide, it's not just skill that decides the outcome. Size brings power, endurance, and the ability to absorb punishment because of this. Many believe the fight is likely to remain more fantasy than reality. Even with its entertainment value, promoters can't ignore the risks of putting a naturally smaller fighter in the ring against a much larger man.
There's no way in hell this fight was ever going to happen. And the fact that y'all believed it, I don't know, you're stupid. So Rick Thompson, chairman of the Georgia Athletic Commission, told USA Today Sports that Paul's promotion company withdrew its request for permits and a rule waiver, citing the 65-pound weight difference between the fighters. The Rick Thompson guy straight up said they've been promoting something they should not have been. Come on, guys, like, use your brains. Y'all boxing fans, you understand this. This fight was never going to happen. This is the article from USA Today. It says the status of the proposed fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis under scrutiny because of the weight discrepancy between the two fighters. Rick Thompson is coming out and saying this stuff because he said he believes it's in the public's best interest to know that they've been promoting something they should not have been. Communications director for the Office of the Secretary of State told USA Today Sports the event will not be happening. But funny enough, tickets are still available. You could still purchase them online, and the fight is still listed on the State Farm Arena event.
Controversy has added yet another twist to the saga as reports surface that the state of Georgia rejected hosting Gervonta Davis, forcing Jake Paul to shift his training and plans to Miami. The move highlights just how messy negotiations for high-profile exhibition bouts can be. States don't just look at the financial upside, they weigh regulatory risks and reputational concerns before greenlighting major boxing events. For Davis, Georgia's rejection is a reminder that his name still sparks both excitement and controversy. For Jake Paul, however, the relocation plays right into his brand, turning obstacles into headlines. Miami, now a hotspot for celebrity fight spectacles, ensures the event will still grab attention. But the switch also underscores how precarious and unpredictable these promotional battles really are.
Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul both let everybody know that the location for their exhibition fight has changed from Atlanta to Florida. And let me tell you, it wasn't because Jake Paul just woke up in the morning and decided that he was going to change the venue. No, it was because of politics once again getting in the way of a Gervonta Davis fight. The amount of times that local small politicians play around with Gervonta Davis and Gervonta Davis's fights is at the point of being ridiculous right now. There is no way without coercion that this many venues, that Gervonta Davis has this many problems with venues. But this time, it wasn't a problem with the venue. It was a problem with the state of Georgia. Now, before I get into it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much. And thank you to everybody that supports in the super thanks of the videos like this. It's a little $ by a comment. And thank you to my guy that did it yesterday with the big $5 holler. Thank you so much, man. I'll thank you directly in the video. But let's get to this because I'm sick of this, man. Every single solitary time, well, over the last 2 years, pretty much, and I'm saying this because I believe this to be true, pretty much since Gervonta Davis started having an argument with Turkey Al-Sham.
Former champion Chris Algieri has praised Jake Paul's impact on modern boxing, noting that win or lose, Paul has marketed the sport in a way few traditional fighters ever could. Algieri argues that Paul has brought an entirely new wave of fans, many of whom never cared about boxing before. By turning his fights into crossover entertainment events, beyond simply stepping into the ring, Jake Paul has managed to convince big-name fighters like Gervonta Davis to share the spotlight, creating a unique mix of boxing and celebrity culture. The result is a fresh, electrifying atmosphere that draws in audiences who might never have purchased a pay-per-view otherwise. For Algieri, this is proof that Paul's contribution shouldn't be dismissed just because he isn't a world champion. Instead, it highlights how the sport's growth often relies on figures who are willing to blur the lines between pure competition and spectacle. And Jake Paul has mastered that balance.
Jake, but it's mostly win-win for him.
Right. So what does Gervonta Davis?
Hold on.
I gotta respond. That's what I want, Chris. Go ahead.
I didn't even get to talk.
Please.
So what has he done for the sport? I mean, manufactured or not, he went out there and he performed and he got knockouts and people tuned in. Boxing fans tuned in. And you can talk about that shoe fight and that shoe. They're not boxing fans. Gervonta Davis sold pay-per-views to boxing fans. And he got boxing fans to come to fights, which is so needed. Desperately needed in this day and age.
They marketed him that way. You can market anybody. You can market it that way. You can market it that way. And champ, you should know better because you and I were very marketable and never got any marketing except as opponents for high-level fighters. And you should know that. They talk about great white hypes and all this other stuff. No, that's absolutely not true. They manufacture what they want to manufacture. Shakur Stevenson can be marketable. He's not ghetto enough. Andre Ward was very marketable. He's not ghetto enough. Why do black fighters only get marketed when they're quote-unquote ghetto, when there's class guys who you can market as great examples? Shakur Stevenson, Andre Ward, so on and so forth. Yeah, I'm going to say it. Yeah, I'm saying it. People complain because I'm too real, and I'm going to be honest. Why could Ray Leonard be manufactured as a... I don't even want to use the word manufactured because Ray Leonard actually was legit.
Great fighter.
But Ray Leonard promoted as the class guy, and it worked. Why could you do it back then, but now you can't do it? Andre Ward was gold medalist the same way, class, could speak, mature, poised, could fight his ass off. Why didn't you market him the way you marketed Ray Leonard? What happened between 1976 and 2004? Why are you marketing Why are you marketing only Thug Life? Why? And I'm not saying, okay, I wasn't a part of this because I was a big fan of the hip-hop gangster rap generation and all this other stuff. But as a 44-year-old, you start to realize the concept of the entire scope of things. Why are you not marketing guys like Shakur Stevenson more? Why are you marketing this guy who doesn't want any of the smoke? Shakur has wanted all the smoke.
Analysts remain split when comparing Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. Critics argue that Davis is simply too small, making a truly competitive fight unrealistic. They believe any matchup would have to be staged as an exhibition rather than a sanctioned bout, which they argue lowers the stakes and risks losing long-term fan interest. Others see it differently. They insist that Davis's speed, slick technique, and elite boxing IQ would allow him to dominate Paul despite the size disadvantage. For them, the fight isn't about weight, it's about skill. Davis has shared the ring with world champions, while Paul's resume remains relatively shallow. In their eyes, Davis would dart in, land clean punches, and make Paul look clumsy. proving that experience can trump size.
I say any comment about it. My question is, what's the rules? And like, are they going to actually try and knock each other out? Because it's going to be a glorified sparring match. I'm not watching, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Jake's going to have a hard time hitting him.
Yeah.
You know?
Big time. Gervonta's so fast and skilled.
Gervonta's going to eat his
I thought
guts.
Jake was going to fight Anthony Joshua. That seemed
no, that was actually getting.
That
sounded more
craziest
interesting.
idea I've ever heard. Jake Paul trying to fight Anthony Joshua is, crazy.
Oh.
Not a sanctioned professional bout. This means the fight will not count towards either fighter's professional records.
So it's still being finalized.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that.
What is so behind the scenes? You think there are things like, hey, we don't punch each other in the jaw.
Yep. Or don't go. We can punch in the face, but don't go for broke. Like, don't knock me out.
Really?
Yeah. It's an exhibition.
That's
so
not very interesting to me.
No. Until I find the rule sets, but when I hear exhibition, I'm like, okay.
Jake is bodied up, man.
He's big.
Yeah.
Probably has 100 pounds on Gervonta.
Maybe. I'd say Gervonta probably walks at 150.
Oh, he's so small.
He's so small. I mean, he's really small. Bring up Gervonta Davis next to Floyd Mayweather, because I've seen Floyd in person, and he's tiny. You've seen Floyd in person.
I've worked with Gervonta and Floyd.
Tiny.
Well, Floyd likely has shoes on there.
Oh, dude, he's so small.
He's tiny, guys.
Yeah. I mean, he's so small. Wow.
Chael Sonnen, never one to hold back, weighed in with his take on the situation, saying Jake Paul caught everyone off guard by pivoting to Gervonta Davis instead of Anthony Taylor, who many believed was next in line. Sonnen pointed out that while Tank Davis is an incredible fighter, he isn't naturally a salesman. His ability to hype a fight and generate mainstream buzz is limited compared to Paul. Jake Paul, Sonnen argued, has built a career not just inside the ring but outside of it, mastering the art of storytelling and promotion. Davis may bring credibility through elite skill, but Paul supplies the spectacle and marketing engine that pushes the fight into the public eye. According to Sonnen, that's the real dynamic here, a partnership of opposites. One fighter brings raw talent, the other brings unmatched promotional instinct, and without both, the matchup would never have generated this much attention.
It is the exact opposite of Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul for two. So the fight that was being dangled and rumored in front of us, the exact opposite has happened. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is not fighting nobody. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is fighting Tank Davis. Okay. So there's one big glaring issue for me. It's just your partner being Tank Davis. Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. It could be a title fight, a contenders fight, a main event fight. He could be the favorite. He could be the underdog. Tank doesn't know how to bring that information to you guys in a way that is compelling. And Tank is already blinking in this situation. You have one guy who is argued amongst the pound for pound current greats in boxing. You have another guy that has suggested he should not even be allowed to box, that he should have to call it something different. He should not be licensed. He should not be ranked in the top 14. He should never be selected for a world title. Okay. Now, Tank has one job to do, which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport.
Some analysts argue that while Gervonta Davis is celebrated for his knockout power at lightweight and super featherweight, that same power may not carry over against someone of Jake Paul's size. Paul's natural weight and bigger frame, they say, give him a level of durability that Davis simply can't crack in the smaller divisions. Davis's punches break opponents down, but against a much larger man. Those same shots might lose their fight-tending effect. Their view is simple: physics matters. Skill can bridge many gaps. But there's a point where sheer size becomes its own form of defense. This skepticism fuels the belief that a Davis-Ball showdown would be more spectacle than sport, a mismatch where physical advantages could overshadow one fighter's technical brilliance. Clip.
The Gervonta fight makes no sense to me because yes, Floyd didn't have the punching power Gervonta had, but even if Gervonta lands, I don't see him hurting Jake to the point he knocks him out. So what are we even doing? Where's the idea of this where's the idea that Gervonta's even gonna hurt him? He may hurt him to the body, whatever. Jake doesn't want to throw as much, but I don't see him one punch knocking Jake out. And, the same thing was kind of said with Logan. Like, okay, Floyd probably won't knock him out, but probably going to outbox him. I get where Dana's coming from. These things are not meant to be competitive fights. They're meant to make money and to, I guess, scratch that itch of the circus mystery unknown.
And Gervonta, I think, hits way harder than fucking Floyd, but he's too small. I mean, your brother's going to be able to, get inside on him, put his weight on him, tie him up. But I don't hate your brother. Your brother's out there doing his thing. But it cracks me up that they want to start suing people that are talking shit when your brother talks more shit than anybody talks.
I think the thought process behind it is, okay, so Jake and I are obviously pretty polarizing individuals. And when an echo chamber starts and a rumor mill starts of like staged fight bullshit, which like these fights aren't staged, that's just, it's at that level, it's like almost impossible. I think they think that it affects the business and it affects the brand because people discredit him as actually having legitimate bouts. I think that's the theory. So to hold people accountable for
legitimate
perpetuating the rumor.
Legitimate meaning not fixed.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And
which is, I mean, again, Dana would do the same thing if his company became known for doing fixed fights when they weren't. Then he would try to find the same way to hold people accountable if they were reputable people saying that, right? So the whole Jake suing people for blatantly trying to say he fixes fights or he stages fights or people have no knockout clauses and all the other bullshit, I understand. Now, again, people need to use their words more accurately if they're upset about what Jake is doing. All you have to do, if you're upset with the way Jake is moving in his career, is say, what some people do say, which is, we like to see Jake challenge himself. We don't want to see these exhibitions, these fights that don't make sense for what you said you want to do or what you purport to want to be in the sport of boxing, which is a world champion. We want to see you fight active fighters around your skill level. That's it. But you can't go on there and go, oh, look, another rigged fight. Oh, look, another fake fight. Oh, look, he's staging another one.
Critics argue that Jake Paul's rise in boxing has been fueled not only by savvy promotion, but by a kind of disrespect toward the sport's past. They claim that by coaxing retired legends back into the ring with promises of massive paydays, Paul risked cheapening boxing's legacy. Even icons like Mike Tyson have been tempted out of retirement, which thrills fans but raises serious safety concerns. The line between spectacle and exploitation becomes blurry when aging fighters are convinced to take bouts they never would have considered in their prime. Yes, the money is undeniable, but the risk is turning boxing into a carnival act where reputations and health are put on the line. And Jake Paul, critics say, thrives on that danger, using it to fuel his brand and keep the spotlight squarely on him.
Perpetuating the rumor.
Legitimate meaning not fixed.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And
which is, I mean, again, Dana would do the same thing if his company became known for doing fixed fights when they weren't. Then he would try to find the same way to hold people accountable if they were reputable people saying that, right? So the whole Jake suing people for blatantly trying to say he fixes fights or he stages fights or people have no knockout clauses and all the other bullshit, I understand. Now, again, people need to use their words more accurately if they're upset about what Jake is doing. All you have to do, if you're upset with the way Jake is moving in his career, is say what some people do say, which is, we like to see Jake challenge himself. We don't want to see these exhibitions, These fights that don't make sense for what you said you want to do or what you purport to want to be in the sport of boxing, which is a world champion. We want to see you fight active fighters around your skill level. That's it. But you can't go on there and go, oh, look, another rigged fight. Oh, look, another fake fight. Oh, look, he's staging another one. Right? That's the thing that's, again, false. So I get it. I get why they're upset, but I also get why people categorize it the way they do. You just got to be better with your words. That's it.
And not many of the fights are legitimate fights, but not being fixed. Hey, you hit me here and I hit you there.
Yeah, I mean that's Dana. That's insane. You like?
I agree.
Like let's choreograph.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do if people are fucking saying stupid shit? People say dumb shit about me, my business, all the time.
True.
Former champion Sean Porter has spoken out in defense of Gervonta Tank Davis's decision to take part in an exhibition fight with Jake Paul, saying critics are missing the bigger picture. According to Porter, this fight isn't about proving greatness. It's about securing financial stability for Davis and his family, because it's an exhibition. Porter notes the risks are limited by agreed-upon rules and safety measures, and the primary goal is entertainment. He stresses that fighters have short careers and must seize opportunities that offer both exposure and financial reward. From this perspective, Porter argues Tank Davis accepting a fight with Jake Paul isn't selling out. It's a smart business move. It allows him to protect his future while still giving fans an event they'll remember. Porter's comments highlight the ongoing tension between boxing purists, who value legacy above all, and fighters who must also consider life beyond the sport.
They're trying to make it safer and, all those sorts of things, but there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore, but it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like they're talking like I don't know the official one. They're talking about like 100 mil.
Oh damn.
Like, they're talking about these insane numbers. Like I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say yes to 100 million or something like that. But I do see exactly what you're saying about the essence of boxing. I wish they would kind of separate a little more because exhibitions have always been a thing. That's always been an argument.
Right.
But they're just selling it like a real fight almost.
Right.
So I think that maybe if we could create a better distinction, more of a difference,
right,
there might be less hate on it. But at the end of the day, man, I'm not going to tell Tank not to take that fight.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Until next time.